Hello, everyone. It's me, Nigel Seeley, and welcome along to Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, the number one tennis betting podcast brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. I am here in New York, looking forward to another day's action at the US Open Tennis. And I'm delighted to say joining me from Europe in Madrid, the capital of Spain, is our WTA handicapper, Rory Jiwani. Rory, it's bit of a while since we spoke, but we're already up to the third round stage, believe it or not. And it's been that we've got off to a steady start. We got some profit in the money in the bank and some 8 very interesting matches to look ahead to on Friday. But how are you first, sir?
I'm very well. Yeah. Been an interesting tournament so far. The one thing that's been really noticeable for me is that the players who have come into the tournament in form have done all right, and the players who have not been in form have bombed out. So you're looking at players like Caroline Garcia out first round, Barbara Krejcikova out first round, Anna Blinkova out first round. So
she was out with blink of a light. She was gone, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. And I had a lean on Jodie Burrage against her. And so, we're going to go through these 8 matches here. I've got picks in 3 of them, but one thing that has, as I say, one thing's noticeable, the form players, the players who have been playing well, have continued to play well here. One thing also worth mentioning is it sounds like there's all sorts of sickness bugs and all sorts going around New York at the moment. So, it's potluck. If your player's unlucky to come down with the lurgy, it's rotten luck, really. So that's one thing which we can't do much about. We're just going to keep plodding along and backing as we can. But until we know for sure who's fit and who's not, there's a little element of doubt as to some of these.
Yeah, always a big question mark about the fitness of players going into the final major of the year here in the Big Apple. But obviously, this rumor now, there's talk of an illness spreading in the locker room, which is playing havoc on the men's draw and the women's draw. We're recording this now on Thursday for Friday's matches, but we're recording it ahead of the matches. I don't know if it will go live, but obviously, I was told yesterday that Ons Jabeur is in a pretty bad way with this bug, and she's had it for almost 24 hours now. I don't know if it's a 24-hour bug that will go. But we saw Christopher Eubanks in the men's draw complain about illness. We saw Dominic Thiem having to retire after set 1 because of an illness as well. So not only is conditioning a problem at the end of the season, and obviously now this bug as well, and it's going to get really hot over here in the next few days. It's currently around about 80 degrees, but very humid. And as we go on to the tournament, the weather is going to get hotter and hotter. The last thing you want to do if you're not feeling well is be playing tennis in that humidity. So that's good. That's a big thing here now for your staking plan and for looking at the tournament here. Like I said, we haven't caught base since the start of the tournament. So the tournament so far, it's quite slow. The conditions are quite slow. The courts are very slow, and I think they're doing it really, to give Corey Gauff a chance of winning this. Every TV channel you turn on over here has got Corey Gauff and Jess Pegula. They're playing in doubles together, which I think could be at their detriment towards the end of the tournament if they go deep here. But let's start off with Corey Gauff. I mean, I watched her yesterday against Andreeva. I put up a little bet in your absence. I played the over 19.5 games. It wasn't to be. Andreeva broke her in the first game, and I thought, oh, here we go. We got a match in our hand. But Corey Gauff played really, really well, and for a young player with all the pressure on her shoulders, I was impressed with how she handles the situation. She's up against Mertens, the experienced Elise Mertens. Gauff is the number 6 seed. Mertens is the number 32 seed. They've met twice before. It's 2-0 on the head-to-heads. Gauff is an overwhelming favourite here, minus 715. Mertens is plus 510. On the spread, it's 5.5. Gauff giving up 5.5 games at minus 120. And the total here, again, seems rather low at 19.5. You talk about players in form. There's no one in better form in the women's game than Coco Gauff, but the expectation of a nation and could see her crumble, I think, as the tournament goes on. But she's a heavy favourite here. Do you think that's about right?
I think she's very short for this. I mean, Mertens put out one of my outright picks, Danielle Collins, yesterday. She saved 2 match points in the second set. Collins really should have won that. But Mertens is a decent player in conditions like this. I think she's better than a 5-1. Was it plus 510 shot here? As you say, Gauff made pretty light work of Mira Andreeva. She hit 24 winners to 16 unforced errors. But I think Mertens is too big here. And I don't think she'll win, but I think we've got to look at the handicap. Mertens plus 5.5 games is minus 107, but plus 4.5 games is plus 170. And to me, that looks really big because the Belgian, she doesn't get broken that often. I mean, sod's law, she'll get broken all the time now, but I think she's quite solid on serve. And Gauff, good returner. She's been playing very well. I do feel, I agree with you. I feel at some point the sort of pressure and the expectation is going to affect her. She's very much expected to win this. I mean, obviously she was expected to beat Andreeva, but I guess with Andreeva being a youngster, a lot of hype around her as well. Maybe not so much. This is a match she's really expected to win. And perhaps we might see a little bit of pressure here. In her first match against Laura Siegemund, of course, she got pretty riled up by the German. And the Germans always trod a pretty fine line between gamesmanship and cheating, shall we say. She's one of those who does she's a bit of a line stepper. And Siegemund really slowed her down. And to the point where Gauff got really annoyed because she wasn't ready to face one of Gauff's serves and told the umpire about it in no uncertain terms. And the crowd got on Gauff's side and got against Siegemund. But I think that's almost given players a bit of a template. They know that Gauff can be wound up. They won't take it to the extreme that Siegemund did. But I can definitely see Mertens using her experience, slowing down the game at times, and just making life a bit awkward for Gauff in this one.
Have we an official play, or are we going to?
Yeah, we're going to have an official play. Plus 4.5 games at plus 170 for Elise Mertens.
Just when I was looking through the head-to-heads, there was a couple of things that sort of cropped up. I mean, well, one thing in particular, they met in 2022 in the French Open, 6-4, 6-love. Corey Gauff won that, and then there was also a 6-1, another bagel in the match in Eastbourne, where actually Mertens got off to a 6-love lead. She got the first set 6-love, and Gauff come back 7-6, 7-6. So couple of bagels in the head-to-heads in the two matches. I'm not saying there will be one again, but it's quite interesting. But I was quite impressed with Gauff yesterday, I must admit. I really was. I thought she handled a tricky opponent really, really well. But I just feel that the pressure will get to her as the tournament goes on. And I think that her and Pegula playing in the doubles will be a hindrance if they go deep in this tournament. But the pick for us, Mertens plus 4.5 against Gauff at plus 170, you say. Decent odds of that. Next match we're going to talk about is one of our tournament picks, Karolina Muchova. She's up against Taylor Townsend. Muchova is the heavy favourite here, the number 10 seed, minus $5. A lot of favourites, a lot of heavy favourites in action on Friday. Townsend is plus 370. If you look at the handicap, it's 4.5 minus 129. Muchova giving up 4.5, and the total here is 20.5, around about minus 110. You take your pick on the over or the under. I was sitting having a beer, surprise, after just after the Gauff game. Actually, as they're waiting for Djokovic to come on, and I was sitting by court number 17, where Taylor Townsend had played Haddad Maia. And the atmosphere on that court was electric, and the cheering and the euphoria when she won. And as soon as I saw that, my first reaction was, I've got to fade Taylor Townsend because she had such a high of winning that. I was hoping that she would probably play an opponent that she would be a slight favourite for, but it wasn't to be with Muchova. But Muchova here playing well, coming into some decent form, 25-9 on the hard courts, reached the Cincinnati final as well. Very impressive in the tournament so far. She looks injury-free, and the timing could be right to face Taylor Townsend.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I can't see her having too much trouble with Townsend. And I'd give Townsend more of a chance. You know, people maybe not so familiar with her game. She's a lefty. She's a very attacking player. She plays a lot of serve volley. Really good player to watch. But with these courts playing as slowly as they are, I think Muchova wins this fairly comfortably. If they were playing fast, I'd give Townsend a bit of a chance. As far as bets go, I can't really see one. As you say, probably is a fade for Townsend after that big win over Beatrice Haddad-Maia. They haven't met before, so there is the element of surprise. You know, when you're playing a lefty for the first time, it can take a bit of time to get used to the serve, for instance, and the way that Townsend plays. But Muchova is a player who mixes it up herself. She can play serve volley. She can play everything. So I think the check will come through without too much fuss and hopefully go deep for us.
Yeah, so no official play for us. We've already got our money on Muchova, and we want her to progress through to the last 16. And given the way that Townsend's euphoric victory yesterday, I think we've got a great chance of making the last 16 for Muchova there. So minus $5 it's a swerve for us not to get involved. Now, we said a lot of heavy favourites there are in action today, and the next heavy favourite is one that I think is vulnerable here. Jelena Ostapenko, -$5 up against Pera, +375. They've met once before, which was on clay, which was Ostapenko's favourite service. She's a former French Open champion, and Pera won it 6-2, 6-1. It was in 2019. She's already beaten Kudermetova here, Pera, to get to this stage. And I'm really surprised by these odds here. Ostapenko is a 5.5 game favourite on the spread, -103 for Ostapenko. You can get -125 for Pera receiving the start. And also, I think 19.5 games is cheap. Over is -118. We do know that Ostapenko can hit the complete capitulation switch and go completely off the radar. She was awful in the last round. I think she hit 80 unforced errors, and she was cruising through to the victory. She almost threw it away. And I'm quite surprised here. The other thing about it is that I saw Ostapenko play in Miami, where it was very, very hot, and her conditioning, and she couldn't cope with the conditions. The weather tomorrow is getting hotter here, and Ostapenko isn't always in the great condition. And I think this could potentially be a shock here. I'm really surprised by the 5.5, and I'm really surprised by the line being 19.5 for the total games.
Yeah, there are many ways to attack this. I think we've said it before in this podcast, but anyone backing Ostapenko at this sort of price needs their head examining, because she's just not trustworthy to back, really. She does have periods where she can't hit a thing. I mean, as you said, 80 unforced errors in the last round. I mean, goodness me. She hit 57 winners, which isn't bad, but 80 unforced errors is, as I said, must be some sort of record. Pera was taken 3 sets as well. Didn't make half as many unforced errors in beating Zhi Wang. That was a good result. It's funny, their previous meeting on clay, as you say, in 2019, was actually in Latvia when Ostapenko was the home favourite. But the other thing to note, Ostapenko's record against left-handers isn't fantastic. It's worse than her general record. I can definitely see, I mean, as you say, you've mentioned the games and everything like that. The only problem is Ostapenko's so up and down. She's just as likely to win a set 6 love as she is to lose one. And I think the safer approach for me is the one I'm taking. Pera to win a set. I think she can definitely do that. And that's +132. I mean, Pera, she can be a little temperamental herself, but not to the same extent as Ostapenko. Ostapenko is far too short. As I say, the play for me is Pera winning a set at +132, but there are many ways you could skin this cat. You can do games, handicap, total games, it to go 3 sets, for instance. But yeah, it's you cannot touch Ostapenko at that price.
I'm very tempted by betting Pera to win the match at +375. I think that's too big. I mean, you can't have 80 unforced errors and then come back and play, against a decent opponent. You're going to get punished for that. And Ostapenko is going to get turned over here at a low price as a heavy favourite. And I think this is your best opportunity you're going to get against her, because she's going to have much tougher matches coming up. So I'm going to take the chance on Pera myself at +375. I'll be betting Pera here. And I'll be making sure I'm on one of the courts cheering on Pera at the top of my voice to influence that result. Next match, we're going to talk about former Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina. She's up against Sorana Cirstea, a veteran, the Romanian here. Rybakina is a heavy favourite, -305, but she was helped by her opponent Tomljanovic not coming through, having to withdraw from her match last night. Rybakina hasn't had the best of preparation for this tournament through injury, and Cirstea is obviously a tour veteran, +235, but the head-to-head is in Rybakina's favour. She's won both her matches they've played, both in 2020. She's won them 2 fairly comfortably. She's a 3.5 favourite here at -143 on the spread, and the total is 21.5 games, around about -110 on the over and the under. We faded Rybakina in the first round, didn't we, against Kostyuk, and Kostyuk didn't put any performance in at all. Do you think that was Kostyuk not turning up, or Rybakina playing well? And we were both very keen to fade Rybakina in the tournament. Very impressive first round win. A bit of luck on the draw with an opponent withdrawing. And now a fairly routine-ish, you would say, third round opponent.
I don't know. I think this could be a little tricky. Rybakina did look very good first round, but as you say, Kostyuk didn't play nearly as well as she could. Rybakina served very well. And the worry for Rybakina is her shoulder. She's got that old kinesio tape on there. It's sort of flesh coloured, shall we say, skin coloured. So you can't see it very well, but it's definitely there. Cirstea is interesting, though, because with the Romanian, she can fall very early in slams, but then she can get going. And then she negotiated the first couple of rounds fairly easily here. She's not in bad form. And we saw in Miami when she beat Aryna Sabalenka that she can handle hard hitters. She's serving well. And I still have a question mark about Rybakina's shoulder. If that starts to give her trouble, you just never know. And so I think it's priced about right, though. I can't find a bet here. The one the bet I was tempted by was Cirstea plus 3.5 games at plus 112. But the thing that puts me off is that, one break of serve each set would be enough to put that bet down. So I don't have a bet. It's going to be a good one to watch. I think Cirstea could give her a bit of trouble, though. But if Rybakina's playing well, like we said in the first round, if Rybakina's playing well, she should win fairly comfortably.
Yeah, I don't think the court speed is going to help her here.
No.
I think Rybakina needs it fast. And we saw last night with Kvitova, she needs it fast. She got beaten. And I think Rybakina will struggle as the tournament goes on, but I think she'll get the job done here eventually. But I'm still sticking with my Rybakina fave for the tournament. I think there's other players in the draw, in particularly Gauff, Swiatek, who are going to be much suited by the conditions here. Talking about Swiatek, she's the next match. We're going to talk about the world number one. Hasn't been in the best here. I must admit, Dara Saville pushed her quite close, especially in the second set, and had chances on break points, but Swiatek produced the goods at the most important time. And usually when you get with Swiatek, you want to go out under games and you want to get with her on giving up the very heavy starts. But in recent weeks, the trend has gone the other way. Her opponents have been cashing. This is no surprise to see Swiatek minus 10,000 to win this game. Her opponent one is 1,900 to 19-1. They've met once before, and the normal 6-love bagel set came in from Swiatek. She won 6-love 7-5 in 2021. The spread here this time around is 7.5. I mean, there's 46 different markets available on all these matches with Bet Rivers. So we can't look at the money line. We have to look at alternatives here to have a bet. The handicap the spread is 7.5, plus 102 for Swiatek, minus 129. And the total is a very, very low 16.5. When they met before, you would say that Swiatek was probably playing better than she is now, and the line come in at 18. I'd be tempted for the over 16.5 here myself. I would. I don't think Swiatek is playing anywhere near as what she was last year here, and I think she's going to get beat as well. I haven't been impressed with what I've seen with Swiatek.
I think with Swiatek, it's very much about who she's playing. So first round, she beat Rebecca Peterson 6-love 6-1, and the last round against an experienced campaigner in Daria Saville, who knows, she knows her way around the tennis court and back again. So I think Saville's kind of savviness, if you like, just sort of gave her a chance there and made it tough for Swiatek. I don't think Juvan has got that. They've actually got quite a lot of history, these two. They actually won the Youth Olympic doubles title together in Buenos Aires in 2018, where Juvan also won the singles gold. Juvan just got past Lauren Davis in the previous round. I think first set bagel could be on here. And I just think Juvan isn't, she's not a great server. I'm not sure she can trouble Swiatek unduly on her serve either. And we have looked at Swiatek bagels all season pretty much, haven't we? But as you said, she won the first set 6-love when they met at Roland Garros 2 years ago. Juvan has had some personal issues. I think her father died last year, so she's had a bit of an up and down time on the tour. I'm going to have a bet on Swiatek to win the first set 6-love at plus 750, just because this is what she does, against weaker opposition. She does get the bagels more often than you'd expect. I think I wonder what the stats would be if you looked at every time she played someone below sort of 60, 70 in the world, how many times she gets a bagel. I'd say it's quite a lot. and I'd say it's more often than a plus 750 price would suggest. So that's going to be my third bet of the day. Iga Swiatek to win the first set, 6-love at plus 750.
You can also look at the second set as well on this market as well, and if you're betting in play. And obviously, if you are betting in play, Bet Rivers have an offer where they're matching a bonus, in play betting bonus, where they match up to 50% of your stake on anything up to $25 on a match bonus as well. So the information is on the graphic below where we are speaking here. So that's an offer that's running all the way through the US Open with Bet Rivers. And remember, there's 46 different markets, as I said, on these matches. There's no better sports book for tennis betting stateside than Bet Rivers, and we have all the different markets. Some of these books just have Swiatek minus 10,000. That's it on the money line. We have 46 different markets available for you to choose from. I slightly agree with you, Roy, on this one. I can see your logic in terms of the stats, and I think you are. But I think Swiatek coming into this tournament hasn't been a best, and I don't think she has that aura about her as what other in recent tournaments. I think she's the number one seed and the tournament favourite, but I think that people think they can give her a little bit of a match now, and hopefully I'm wrong. We cash at 750, but anyway, you're not going to go too wrong betting a 6-up. But I just think that I'd be more inclined to go over 16.5 games. But anyway, we'll see. Next match,
it's a chance Wang they could both land.
Of course they could. Yeah. I mean, they both landed in the match in French Open.
That's right.
6-5, 7-5. So the game's coming at 18. They both landed, so it could come in. Wang against Schmedlova. Wang is minus 265. Schmedlova is plus 205. 3.5 is the spread here for Wang, giving up minus 137, total 21.5, minus 118 over and under. No head-to-head records, so to speak. A match that really doesn't really inspire me with any sort of commitment or any conviction at all on any of these markets.
Yeah, those Buenos Aires Youth Olympic Games I just mentioned, Wang reached the semi-finals, so you can sort of see how their trajectories have gone. I mean, she's not shown that much in the pro ranks until this season. She has shown some improvement, and she beat Sara Sorribes Tormo in the last round, which is never easy to do, especially with the courts playing so slowly. Schmedlova seems to be saving her best for slams this year. She had a good run at Roland Garros. I can't help feeling Schmedlova's a little big here. She did beat Maria Sakkari's conqueror, Rebecca Masarova, in the previous round. So a lean towards Schmedlova. I just think she's a little bit big at plus 205, but no bet for me here.
Yeah, next game, Belinda Bencic is a player that you mentioned sort of favourably in the previous show. You quite thought she could go well in this tournament, and she's doing well indeed. She's minus 295 against Lin Zhi, who is plus 225. The handicap again here is 4.5. Bencic is minus 132, and Zhi is plus 104. Total 20.5. One previous appearance, which was a long time ago, 2014. Both myself and Rory had masses of hair, and we were a couple of waist lines slimmer in those years. But nothing's really much changed here. Bencic is still a heavy favourite, minus 295. You did say that you thought Bencic could go quite deep in this tournament. Have you been impressed with what you saw from the Swiss star?
I have. I mean, my only concern with Bencic, as it is with a few players, is her fitness. Always a question mark with the Swiss. I'm actually kicking myself a bit here because Lin Zhi has been in good form of late, and I quite liked her to beat Victoria Azarenka last round, but didn't back her. And as I said earlier, the players who have shown decent form of late are going pretty well, and Lin Zhi is one of those. I think this will be Bencic's first real test of the tournament, and then we'll get a good idea, I think, as to how deep she can go, and certainly should test her physically. I don't have a strong opinion on this at all. I just think it's a good match. It's not one I want to get involved with, but I think if you're looking at Bencic as a potential challenger, I think this will be a good test for her.
Yeah, remember to head to the Bet Rivers website. They have all the tournament winner markets at the end of the play today on Thursday. This is a preview of Friday's third round women's matches. They're always at 60. Amazing. It seems like yesterday the tournament started. They were already into the round of 30. They just move so quickly, and especially while you've been out here, the time is flying incredibly quick. Talking about time flying, I mean, I feel like I'm going back in time. looking at the next match, Wozniacki, two women on the comeback trail, Wozniacki and Brady. Remarkably, they've never met before when you consider that their history and what they've done in the game. They haven't met before here. Wozniacki last night produced some good tennis to beat Petra Kvitova, but Petra Kvitova had an off day. Wozniacki, all she had to do was get the ball back into net. A lot of unforced errors from Kvitova. And I bet Kvitova in that match in play. And I was really disappointed with her. You know, I'm a big Kvitova fan, but I think the court speed, especially being in the evening, was suited Wozniacki here. Brady, though, is a tough opponent. And she's the big story on the news media here. And obviously ESPN are showing this on the TV networks here. And Brady's as a big story here. The crowd have got behind her. The US Open are using her a lot on their social media campaign as well. She's a big personality. I think she's a tough game for Wozniacki. Even though Wozniacki won yesterday, I wasn't impressed with what I saw. I thought it was Kvitova who gave her the game. I like Brady here. She's plus 102. Wozniacki is minus 125. First real big match for both of these players since they come back. Wozniacki is minus 1.5 on the spread. Brady can bet plus 1.5. I like that at minus 124. And the total here is 22.5. I don't think I'd go deep because I'd want to know the scheduling for this match. If it was an early game in the heat, I think because I haven't been off court for a long time, I could see unders. If it was cooler in the night game, I think it could be really a real classic. So from the scheduling point of view, I want to look at that for the derivative markets and for the props. But on the money line, I'm quite tempted by Brady at plus money.
Yeah, I'm not really strongly swayed either way. I suspect it will be a night game. I suspect it will be a night game on one of the big courts. As you say, with Brady's history, semi-finalist here, 2020, Australian Open finalist 2021, big injury absence. And obviously Wozniacki, her first slam since childbirth. I think Wozniacki will win this. I think she's going to do what she does, which is, and you said what she did against Kvitova, kept the ball in play and waited for Kvitova to make mistakes. And that is Wozniacki's game. It has always been her game. I mean, she can hit winners, don't get me wrong, but, her game is attrition, wearing down opponents. And I think she'll do that here. I'm happy to leave this one alone. I think fatigue could come into it. Both players, neither's played a hell of a lot of tennis of late. And you wonder how, if it does go into a third set perhaps, or it could be 2 long sets, and you just wonder how match fit either is. I mean, they've played a few matches since returning, but not compared to plenty of other players on the tour. I mean, for me, the one that did make some appeal and I had a look at was Wozniacki minus 1.5 games, because I think she'll win, and I think she'll win, close. It will be close, but I think she'll win by enough to cover that spread. But as I say, just the unknown of two players who hadn't played too much tennis recently. I think it's one to avoid. But I think court conditions wise, I think it will be a night game, so that will be cooler and probably favour the Dane.
We have a difference of opinion in this one. I like Brady.
Yeah.
Plus 1.5, I like Brady. So we might do some business when the call's put down, Rory. We're having a chat. I'll give you a nice price on Wozniacki. You give me a nice price on Brady. But anyway, I'll tell you what, we'll have whoever wins this match buys the other one lunch. When you're back in London.
All right.
Okay, that's a deal. So I'm going to go Brady. Rory's going to go for Wozniacki. Rory, give us a little update on your official picks here. Your 3 official picks for Friday's action: women's singles, 3rd round US Open. 3 bets from Rory, and they are.
They are Elise Mertens plus 4.5 games against Coco Gauff. That's plus 170. Bernarda Pera to win a set against Jelena Ostapenko plus 132. And Iga Swiatek to win the first set 6-love against Kaja Juvan, and that's plus 750.
Love that Pera bet, really do. I'm going to pull the trigger and bet Pera to win on the money line as well. I think Ostapenko, real vulnerable favourite at minus $5. Really, really want to take on the Latvian there. Roy, thanks very much for joining us. There's always, remember, thank you very much for downloading and watching on our YouTube channel, our new YouTube channel. Remember, there are a few ways you can follow all the activity, all the handicappers here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. You can download the podcast, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Betting Weekly Studios. Some brilliant content on there. The Premier League show I've just recorded a minute ago. We have the Champions League draw Later on today, we'll be looking at the outright markets and that, the groups, the top goal scorer special tomorrow on that, and as well as the tennis action from Rory, myself, and Sean Calvert. Believe it or not, we had 200 episodes of this. So thank you for your help on that, Rory and Sean. And thanks for everybody for watching and leaving some nice comments, some not so nice comments, but that's the nature of the beast. We win together, we lose together. So thank you very much for that. And also they can follow us on our socials, which is @BecauseWeWin on Twitter and also on Instagram. You can follow my adventures here in New York. And on the weekend, Sean Calvert, I'll be handing the baton on to Sean Calvert. I'll be heading back to London, and Sean will coming back for week 2 of the final major of 2023. Rory, anything planned for the weekend? Anything nice?
Oh no, work, watching tennis. That's my weekend.
Lovely.
Pretty much.
I'm going to watch a bit of tennis, plenty of sunbathing, and then get on that plane back to London on Monday morning, and do it all again next week. Thanks very much for watching. Roy, have a great day. Good luck with your wagers, and we'll speak to you all soon. Take care.